Hi, welcome to the All England Fertility Network UK information session. Tonight we're going to talk about how to make IVF medication more affordable, and I'll pass over to Joseph from the Fertility Medication Centre.
Great. Thanks for inviting me, Carla. Hi, everyone. My name is Joseph Arian-Schad. I'm the CEO of the Fertility Medication Centre, or TFMC, as it's now referred to by many of our patients. And as highlighted on the poster for tonight's talk, I'll be talking to you about how to make your fertility medication more affordable, but I'll also link that into making the process of ordering your medication less stressful and making sure you can get it on time so the cycle is not delayed. And we find from discussions with patients that all three of these areas are a focus for them. So just to give a small summary on who we are and what we do, TFMC was created over 3 years ago, and its prime objective was to make fertility medication more affordable for patients. And it soon became clear that patients also needed a stress-free and simple way of ordering the medication, and also have the ability to have next day delivery to their door to ensure that their treatment and cycles started on time. And if they needed, they could also communicate with a human being and not just an automated AI or only a chatbot. So, we've listened to the patients over the years that we've had, and we now cater for all these needs. And we are often complimented by patients for our personalized service. So that's a bit about us. So now addressing really the topic of our talk this evening, which is how can you make your fertility medication more affordable? So that first question, we all know, if we just go back to the beginning, we all know that the cost of fertility treatment in the UK is very high. And according to the Human Fertilization and Embryology Authority, or HFEA for short, one cycle can cost anywhere between £5,000 and £15,000, and that it takes on average 3 attempts to become pregnant. But what's often forgotten is that the medication part could cost 30 to 40% of each cycle, and that's a lot of money, obviously. So when choosing a clinic for your treatment in the UK, you'll have researched the clinics, you'll have thoroughly checked their website, you can check the HFEA reports on the clinic, you can look at the Google reviews, and also the clinic's reported success rates for IVF. And once you've done that, and perhaps after you've gone for your first consultation, great, you're committed, you want to try and start or increase your family with this chosen clinic of yours. However, to develop that point a bit further, there's 2 parts to your treatment. There's first the clinical side, procedures and pre-tests carried out by the clinic. And the second side is the medication. So once the consultant has prepared your treatment plan, often, they'll start with you having to take specialized and specific fertility medication protocol. The clinic will advise you in the plan what medications to take. And it's at this stage that the patients can potentially make their medication more affordable. So you might ask the obvious question, well, how? And the answer is quite simply by having a choice of where you go to get the medication. So what is important to note is that whilst the clinical treatment and plan is specific to the clinic you've chosen, the medication is not specific, as you could get it anywhere. So patients often feel that they must or should buy from the clinic, but this is not the case, as they've always had a choice, but may not have known it. In fact, as of June 2021, the Competition and Marketing Authority, or CMA, collaborated with the HFEA, and they sent to all UK fertility clinics a best practice report that they expected all clinics to comply with, as they knew that fertility medication prices in private clinics could be high. And in relation to the medication, they stated, and obviously I'm going to paraphrase, they said that all private UK fertility clinics must tell the patient at the time of disclosing what medication they need, that they have a choice where they can buy it, as it might be cheaper on the high street or from other pharmacies or supermarkets. And in some instances, it might be better to get the medication from the clinic if it's urgently required. So, this was aimed to give patients a choice, and more so the ability to save money, as clinic prices for medication are often very high. So what I'm trying to say with that is you should shop around. It's important to do that, and you should get from other providers of fertility medication a no obligation quote. So, you can just Google fertility medication or fertility drugs and check out their websites and patient reviews and get a quote and try 2 or 3 pharmaceutical outlets to get the best price. And, it will really make a difference. And in the end, you as the patient will have the power to choose, which is what it always should be as far as where you get your medication from. So, we've talked a bit about, the needs for affordability, and sometimes patient needs go over and above affordability. To kind of illustrate that point, TFMC prides itself on trying to understand the various needs of the patient who is undergoing fertility treatment. And we have tried to highlight this, in the shape of a simple pyramid, which I'll show you shortly. I mentioned earlier that trying to make fertility medication more affordable was the main goal of TFMC, but having, cheaper drugs that arrive late or that are sent, via post when they should have been sent via a courier in a temperature-controlled vehicle, or if deliveries are missed because delivery windows are not communicated. These are all, horrible scenarios that no patient wants to face, especially when they're undergoing an emotional roller coaster already with their treatment. And what we do find patients find helpful is our patient pyramid, which I'll just share with you now on the screen. And let me just find it for you, and I will then just guide you through it. I'll just narrate it as we go along. There we go. So you should see a pyramid now on your screen with 6 sections on it. And so we'll start from the top descending. So patients require, in our view, an online service where they get a one-stop shop ordering and payment system. So for this very important part of their treatment, they have certainty that they will get all their medication on the date they chose at the location they chose. This will give all patients peace of mind in what is obviously, as mentioned, a very stressful and emotional time in their life. So affordable medication, patients do require affordable medication, and because we are a small family type run organization with team members who relate to the journey of being undertaken by patients, we have small overheads and operate on low profit margins to be able to give the best quotes competitively. So free next day delivery and needles and sharp spin. We offer free delivery and free next day delivery and free kits, so i.e. needles and syringes that are appropriate for your medication, and free sharp spin where required. Just to illustrate that, what's often stressful for patients is ensuring that they get the right needles and a sharp spin. And if they shop at local pharmacies or supermarkets, these do not come as standard for the medication, but you have to buy them separately piecemeal, and you need to make sure that they are as prescribed. We as a standard, through our reputable dispensing and delivery agent, we ensure that the free appropriate needles and sharp spin are delivered with the medication. So that eliminates one element of anxiety for the patients when they're getting their medication delivered to them. Stress-free services and starting your cycle on time. So patients require a stress-free service in relation to their medication so they can start their cycle on time. And so with our one-stop shop and next day delivery service, we try to achieve this. But patients may also need some human support in the form of quick responses via email or WhatsApp, and also weekend assistance if necessary. So it's also important to know that, as mentioned earlier in our chat, that your medication is kept at the correct temperatures, and our delivery agent ensures that all such medicines are couriered in temperature-controlled vehicles, and medication that requires refrigeration is packaged in clearly labeled separate cold chain bags or boxes where necessary. And some pharmacies don't actually provide that service. Just to illustrate some anecdotal examples, we recently had a husband who contacted us who was very worried as his fridge door had not shut properly for, an hour, and he was worried about the efficacy of the medication. And, obviously I'm pleased to say that we discussed this with the pharmacist and we're able to go back to the patient and put the husband's mind at rest that this period of time would not be detrimental. So, whilst that may seem like a small matter, quite rightly it was questioned by the patient, and I'm pleased to say that TFMC prides itself on having a very hands-on, personalized service for patients, being able to answer questions like this quickly, but also where we would not get business from it, we would still be able to support patients if they came to us with such queries. Another example would be a patient having treatment at an overseas clinic. They emailed on a weekend, desperately asking whether we could deliver some medication that afternoon, as she had miscalculated and her cycle could be ruined. So clearly we could not, due to the day and timing of the request. However, as we cover all, emails and queries that come in on the weekend too, one of our team members called around some local pharmacies and around the patient's location, and we were able to find one that could supply if the patient were able to go and pick up. So this information was then relayed back to the patient, who was very grateful. Just to basically say that with all that for TFMC, it's not all about the profits, but it's about giving a stress-free service and supporting patients wherever we can. We've often been complimented by patients as being human, sympathetic and supportive, and ready to respond quickly, even on weekends. And from what we understand, it's not like many other organizations where, you may have to deal with an automated chatbot. So onto the fifth section, just email us the medication you require, and you'll receive a no obligation quote sent within hours. So as far as this particular section, patients, they do want to be able to get a quote quickly without having to ask the clinic for a prescription, which, could cost as much as £250. And they want to be able to get their medication ordered and delivered without having to send the original hard copy of their prescription, which could take days and could delay the start of their cycle. So to accommodate that, we just ask patients to email us their medication requirements without the prescription to get a quote, which usually goes out in 24 hours, but we estimate within 2 hours usually. And if they accept and want to order, they can just simply email us a copy of the prescription or send us a photo of the signed prescription from which we can dispense and deliver to the patient, with the original hard copy being sent to us once they receive their medication. This system avoids delays in starting their cycle and is very much appreciated by patients, especially those having treatment overseas where the prescription may take several days to a month to arrive in the UK. And for the sixth section, no traveling to pharmacies, no waiting for medications, no revisits to get your medication piecemeal. So the one-stop shop concept service has proved very popular with patients, as it means everything is done from the comfort of your home, and you have certainty that this important part of your treatment is totally and completely arranged on a single online trip. So you get the quote sent to you for the medication requirements, you send us a photo or a digital copy of your signed prescription, we send an invoice, and once it's paid, we arrange delivery on a date that suits you. And we are available at any time if you want to contact us via email, via WhatsApp, via phone, for any queries relating to the delivery or just in general the whole patient journey. From what we are aware of, there are certain pharmacies where you may need to have the original hard copy of your prescription before they allow you to order. They may not have a next day delivery option. You will have to wait for the medication to arrive, to the store because they may not have certain things like stimulating drugs in stock. They may have to make special orders for them. So you may have to end up doing several visits, pay for everything, even if, some is there now, or others you need to come back for. And going back to the point about the kits, needles and syringes and sharp spin, the pharmacies will not provide them as standard. So you would have to then go and source those yourself, either through your clinic or call around to pharmacies to see if they have the specific needles, gauges you require. So I would say the online and human approach by TFMC is a great service for the patient in this particular stressful area. So really, this pyramid that we've gone over kind of goes over the whole patient journey when they come to us with a list of medication requirements or a photo of their prescription. And I hope our discussion has been helpful. So thank you for listening, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Joseph. There is a
Thank you.
question for next day delivery. How early would you need to
Yeah.
order to be able to receive next day delivery?
Yeah. So for next day delivery, which is free, we would need to have your acceptance of a quote and your payment by 11:30 a.m. To arrange next day delivery for the next working day. The reason for that is that gives us time to do our quality control to make sure all the paperwork is correct, the right medications are packaged for you, and that there's no errors basically with your order. So 11:30 a.m., the previous working day, is the deadline for acceptance of quote and payment for delivery the next working day.
Okay. And is there a charge for a Saturday delivery, for instance, or is that free as well?
No, that's free as well. Saturday delivery will depend on postcode coverage for delivery in that area, but we make it very clear once we know your postcode with the original quote, we let you know if Saturday delivery is an option, but it is 90% of the time there is delivery coverage on Saturdays. But once we know your postcode, we can ascertain the facts. So there is Saturday delivery, next day delivery, and it's free of charge.
Okay. And then the other question is trying to think now, what was it? It came to my mind to say it. Prescription wise, then you would need to get your prescription from the clinic. How do you accept the prescription? Is that do you send a digital copy or?
Yeah, so if you send us a quote request and it was just a list of medications or an unsigned prescription or whatever you sent us to get a quote, to process the order, we would need a photo of your signed prescription or a digital copy of your signed prescription. We would need that to process the order, and you can send the hard copy to our offices once you receive the medication delivered to you.
Okay.
So we wouldn't need a hard copy to send you the medication if you're happy with the quote. We just need you to send us a photo of the prescription that's signed or a digital copy of the prescription that's signed.
Yeah. That explains why it can be so quick then. When you decide to go ahead, you can obviously a digital copy of prescription, sort the delivery. And then in terms of delivery, do you get a choice if you don't need it next day? Do you get a choice when it'd be delivered or a time slot or anything to make that really easy?
Yeah. Yeah. So we can arrange delivery on any day that suits you. The next day delivery is for acceptance and payment by 11:30 a.m. on the previous working day, but it can be any day that suits you. As far as the delivery slot, the logistics are worked out by the courier the night before. So what would happen is our courier partner would call you in the afternoon, the day before delivery, to confirm your delivery date, and then they will text you the evening before delivery with a 2-hour delivery window.
Well, that's all on the questions at the moment. So thank you very much.